Hi guys, welcome to another CMEPG YouTube channel video. I'm your host Morten, and this is another hobby vlog. I haven't made one of these in a long time. I think it's been a month actually, since I did my Osgiliath runes. And I have gotten stuff done. The thing that happened is that for the first many weeks I didn't get anything done. Like, I got 4 dwarves done in like 2 weeks, and I felt like, well, that wasn't worth doing a hobby vlog on, because it was, dwarf ranges which I've done before. So it's like, well, I'm just gonna wait and then accumulate a bit more stuff, like do a bit more stuff before it, and then just snowballed from there. I was like, oh, I'll skip another week, I'll skip another week, I'll skip another week. Now here we are a month later, and I think what I've decided to do is that I'm just going to show you every single thing that I've been doing for this past month. So we're going to start off with the dwarves, and then we're going to go on to some other things that I've done, which you will see in the video. So let's start off with the dwarves. So the first thing I did is these 4 dwarven rangers with axes, and as you know, if you've been following my videos, I've done dwarven rangers before. So I went into detail describing how to paint them in that previous video, even though that video didn't have that great camera quality. You can go back and watch that for the full description of how to do this, but I'm just going to say what I based the different stuff with, and then you can figure out, well, you could literally highlight and shade it any way you wanted. So, Incubi Darkness for the capes, those lovely capes, and Steel Legion Drab for the leather, at least the main part of the leather armor, Dawnstone for the grey tunic, Lead Belcher for the base of the weapons, normal skin color for the faces, and then different colors for the different beards. So that's essential. That's the bare bones essential of what's happened to them. And the shoes were Chaos Black, and then Abaddon Black, to be precise, and then highlighted up. So that is in short those 4 dwarves. The next thing I have is another dwarf, so I'm gonna show you him right away. And here we have him. It is the Dwarf Shield-Bearer, which is a 60-point hero, who's I felt like he could easily fit into my Erebor army, being a pretty generic dwarven character, and he has a rule. I think it's called Protect Your King, or maybe it's just a bodyguard. It's some kind of rule that I felt went well with him being in service of whoever, like Thorin or something like that. And he has a huge shield, which noted it has a ravens, so, which I believe is either Ravenhill or the Iron Hills. That's what it's based on. I think it might be the Iron Hills, which is perfect, since we know there's new Iron Hills dwarves coming out, so my Erebor Iron Hill dwarf can sort of mix that list. So that's pretty great. It's pretty simple to paint, honestly, like my dwarf captain I painted a while back. It's largely the same style. Well, not the dwarf captain, it was Morten and Dra. It's because it's from the same era of Games Workshop, obviously, and from the same line, so they're very similar to paint. So if you watch that, you'll get the idea of how I painted this guy. The next thing I painted is something quite bigger than a dwarf, but the dwarves are fond of it. Boom! Yes, this is the next thing I painted. It is a tower, which is obviously, as you see by this door in the middle of nowhere, is meant to be part of a wall section, which goes here. And this is actually one of Christian's towers, which I had borrowed because I needed terrain for... I needed more terrain to have 2 tables running at the same time at my house. And I painted this the same way with my Runes of Osgiliath. Essentially, you use Chaos Black, or Abaddon Black, and then you use Dawnstone, dry brushing that. Then you use Nuln Oil randomly, splatting it across it, and Extract Earthshade, again, randomly splatting it across it, and then highlight with Palette Witch Flesh. That's actually how you do it. That's how I do it, anyway. And before you do the Palette Witch Flesh, I also do the bottom here, where I paint it sort of randomly with Uruk-hai to make it look like mud. And that's essentially it. Then I did the woods, which was Mornfang brown, and then shaded and highlighted again, yeah. Okay, so then I thought to myself, well, now that I have painted a tower, I should paint something that you can use to, like, sort of decorate it. and could be used in other situations. So I did that, and as you see over here, as I'm putting it up, siege ladders, Uruk-hai siege ladders. So here we have those, and the 4 I own painted those, and also that's a simple paint job, as anything like this is. Morten brown for the wood, then shaded with Northern oil and extra earth shade, and lead belcher for the metals, and also shaded and with Northern oil and extra earth shade. It's very simple. So that's the siege ladders. Now that then brought me into, if you've watched, I believe, let me just think. I think it's out. It's the Isengard versus Great Eagles video that I have, where I played Isengard, and that I hadn't played Isengard for an age, but that inspired me after that battle to paint some more of that, because I have a huge Isengard collection. So I have actually painted a bunch of Isengard troops after that. So I'm just gonna start up by showing you the 21 Uruk-hai warriors that I have painted. Yes, 21. 11 with sword and shield, and 10 with pikes. Boom. There we have it. 21 Uruk-hai warriors. And I painted these guys in 2 weeks. Basically, I finished the sword and shield guys a few days ago, a couple of days ago. I'm not filming this the same day as it goes up, so I'll probably already have done some more stuff after this. But so I finished these 21 guys. I really got motivated and just mass produced them. The thing is, I have another box of them, like one of the old boxes of where there's 20 Uruk-hai. And by now I think I have something around 60 or 70 painted Uruk-hai, something like that. Something like that. I think it might be 60 something so far. So then 20 more warriors I have, and then 25 more random Isengard stuff. So I'm gonna have a huge army once it's all done, and I'm planning to really get it cracking on it as much as I can. And yeah, it's very simple to paint Uruk-hai, at least the way I do it. Spray painted chaos black, obviously. Start that way. Then you take, I'm trying to do it all by memory right now. So I take lead belcher over the entire model, dry brushing it over the entire model. Then I use non-oil on the entire model. Then I use iron breaker, dry brushed on the entire model as a highlight. And then I don't do anything more to the armor at this point. Then I go over all the skin with Ranax hide. I highlight it with Dumble brown. Then I shade it down with Northern oil. That was the skin. Then you take all the leather straps and gloves and all that stuff, lead belcher, and that's the most boring part, is doing the straps, I tell you. So lead belcher, no, not lead belcher, sorry, steel legion drap on all the leathers, Agrax earthshade on all the leathers, and what I do at this point then is that I turn them around. I do the hair, and I do 3 different versions. Let's see if I can find 3 different versions. I do this blonde, which I traditionally didn't do, but I've decided to do, and that is palette witch flesh, and then 2 coats of Agrax earthshade to give them this blonde hair. Then I do one with Dawnstone, and then I do non-oil on the hair. And then let's see if I can find one. Shouldn't be too hard. They do 3 variations. Kind of, this is pretty hard to find. Here you go. And here we use Mornfang brown, and then non-oil to shade it. Obviously, I don't go as much into detail with these as I do with hero units or some other units, because there's going to be so many of them, and I have to do so many of them. But the good thing about Uruk-hai is that you can paint them fairly simply, and it's still going to look good. Now, every part of the model has been painted, shaded, and highlighted. What do I do now? I do random dips on Agrax earthshade on different parts of the model. Mostly the armor, but sometimes also on other parts, just to dirty it up, so you get a slightly more dirty look on the armor. And some of them I will do a lot, and some of them I will do very little. That might mean that, you know, one of them has been running around fighting for longer, he might be more rusty, like his equipment might be more rusty, and someone who's like a green warrior, who's just been produced and is gonna wander out, might have a less sturdy armor. Okay. That's essentially it. Then I take some of them and I put white hands of Saruman on the shields or on the helmets or the legs. Yes. And that's essentially how I do them. I've done one other special thing with related to Uruk-hai warriors, which I will show you right away. And here we have it. It is the Battering Ram. The amazing, brilliant Battering Ram. I actually did this before I did those warriors that you just saw. And that was actually part of also what inspired me to just get cracking on my Uruk-hai, because it was so fun to do something different. I know, you might remember I've been talking about, oh, I have to finish my dwarves, but I burnt myself out with dwarves, and then I went into this Isengard project, which I'm loving at the moment, which is why I'm able to produce so much of it. But these, obviously the Uruk-hai done the same way as the one I just explained. The Battering Ram is very simple. It's Rhinox hide, and then it's highlighted with Morten brown, and there's also some Northern oil shading, and there's some Acrac surface shading. You know I love that. And the metals on the Battering Ram is done the same as the other metals on the Uruk-hai. So quite simple. And then after doing the different parts, I then glued them together as one, and did the base. I'm very happy with it, and I'm so excited to do some sieges. And I'm talking fast in this video, but that's because I have so much to tell you. Okay, let's go to the next thing, because I painted 4 more models. Yes, you won't believe it, I have 4 more completed models that I've done. So let's go back and I'll show you those 4. And as here you see, here we have it. It is what you think it is. 4 feral Uruk-hai. And honestly, I love them. I love them. They were fun to paint. They were actually partially painted before, and then like from over a year ago, and then I just went and worked like about an hour and a half on them to finish the job. And I love feral Uruk-hai. They're great, and they're essentially painted the same way as berserkers. Like obviously these have a few dangling body parts, like a bloody hand or a head on them. And then also, did some white hands of Saruman on that. All the good stuff. I don't see any point in like explaining how I painted them. Like the skin is obviously the same as any Uruk-hai. I do it slightly more red with these and also the berserkers, because they seem to just be more bloodied up. So I make it slightly redder, as if they have dried up blood dripping down from their bodies. And fluff-wise, I don't mind feral Uruk-hai. Sure, you don't see them in the movies, but they look like they fit into the army aesthetically. And why wouldn't, I mean, in my head they're just another kind of berserker, so I think they're a great way to spice your force up and have some, different values and stuff in it, and it's fun, and I don't see anything non-fluff with them. And I also made one or two of them blonde. I also have 2 more which I painted like over a year ago, like a year and a half, something like that ago, if not more actually. Yeah, so this is all that I've done. Quite a lot of stuff this past month that turned out suddenly. I mean, most of it is done in the last 2 weeks. All the Uruk-hai stuff is done in the past two or 2.5 weeks. And this is what I'm working on currently. This will probably be done when this video is out, but you'll have to watch it next week. If I do a video next week, hopefully I will, if I get enough done. It is an Uruk-hai captain. And I have to, you see, this is an example of, in the process of doing the armor on my Uruk-hai, where I just put it over the entire model, not even caring what I hit. And this guy has been lead belchered, then he's been non-oiled, he has gotten a highlight, and I'm also going to go and do edge highlights on this guy, just to go into a bit more detail. I'm doing this guy alone with nothing else. So, that is what I'm working on right now. Let me give you an overview right now also on what other Isengard stuff I have to paint. Up here, you can see I have 6 engineers, Grima Wormtongue, 3 berserkers, this siege weapon, Saruman mounted and on foot, 2 crossbowmen, a banner bearer, the guy holding the ammo for the ballista. I have over here, you can barely see it, but I know what it is. It's Ugluk, and behind him is 2 Uruk-hai scouts carrying Marian Pippin. There's an Uruk-hai scout drummer, and then there's Lurtz with the sword and shield. I already painted the one with the bow. And then I have 20 more Uruk-hai warriors, and I'm still planning to get more Isengard stuff. in case you don't know, Isengard was my first army, so that also means that I have older models in the army that are less well painted, and then there's basically this is the third generation of my Isengard. I have from right when I started the hobby, very like about 20 models painted from that. Then I have like 20 more or something like that painted from a year ago, like a year and maybe 14 months ago, and now I'm doing it again. So that's basically a bit of an overview of what's been going on with my hobby for me for the last month, and also what I'm going to be working on for a while, which is Isengard. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you've been able to absorb all of this. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Support your hobby, and happy strategy. Isengard gaming.